If you've spent any time in a gym, a locker room, or a comment section, you've heard wild things about creatine. Some people swear it's a miracle. Others warn it's dangerous. So today we're putting the stories aside and keeping one promise. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's true, what's not, and how to use creatine safely and effectively if you choose to. No complicated science class, just clear answers in plain language. Creatine isn't a steroid, and it isn't magic. It's a natural compound your body already makes in tiny amounts and stores inside your muscles. Think of it like a quick battery pack for short, intense efforts. Those moments when you sprint, jump, or push the last few reps. Supplementing simply tops off that battery so it's always ready. That's why so many athletes and everyday people use it. They want a little more strength, a little more power, and slightly better recovery over time. One of the most common fears is that creatine hurts your kidneys or your liver. Here's the simple truth. In healthy people taking normal doses, creatine is considered safe in study after study. Doctors get confused sometimes because a blood test called creatinine can go up a bit when you take creatine. That's not kidney damage. It's a normal byproduct that can look scary on paper. But if you already have kidney or liver disease, or you're pregnant or breastfeeding, that's a different story. In those cases, talk to a healthcare professional first. For everyone else, stick to reasonable doses and stay hydrated, the same way you should with any fitness routine. Another rumor that refuses to die is the hair loss claim. It came from a small study that noticed a temporary rise in a hormone called DHT. What most people don't mention is that the study didn't actually track hair loss, and larger bodies of evidence haven't shown creatine causing baldness. If you're already prone to hair loss, you'll notice things over months or years because of genetics and other factors, not because you added a spoon of creatine to your water. If this topic makes you anxious, keep an eye on how you personally respond. But there's no strong, consistent proof that creatine makes your hair fall out. Let's talk about the loading phase. You've probably heard you must take 20 grams a day for a week. You can do that if you want faster results, but you don't have to. A steady daily dose of 3 to 5 grams gets you to the same place. It just takes a few weeks longer to fully saturate your muscles. For most people, slow and steady is easier on the stomach and simpler to remember. Pick the style that fits your life and you'll win either way. What about weight gain and bloating? That first couple of pounds some people see is mostly water, but not the kind that puffs your face or your stomach. It's water pulled into the muscle cell, where it actually helps the muscle do its job. Think of it as better hydration exactly where you need it. That's different from adding body fat. If your diet and training are on track, creatine won't secretly push your body fat up. It just makes your muscles a little fuller and more ready to perform. People also worry about cramps and dehydration. The funny thing is, when researchers look at cramping, they don't see creatine making it worse. In some groups it even seems to help. The key, as always, is basic hydration. Drink water. If you train hard or sweat a lot, add electrolytes. Creatine isn't a free pass to ignore the basics. It's a small helper that works best when the fundamentals are in place. Here's a myth that can quietly hold people back. Creatine is just for men. Or, it's only for hardcore bodybuilders. Not true. Women benefit from more strength, better training quality, and improved recovery just like men do. Beginners can see meaningful progress because they're learning movement patterns and creatine supports repeated efforts. Older adults can benefit too. Strength protects joints, helps you move with confidence, and supports independence as you age. Creatine doesn't care about your gender or your experience level. It supports the kind of training that builds a more capable body. Should you take it on rest days? Yes. Creatine works by keeping your muscle stores topped up, and that's a daily job. Training day or not, the routine matters more than the calendar. Set a simple rule. Take your scoop at the same time every day, and you'll maintain the benefits without thinking about it. Consistency is more important than perfection. Do you need to cycle off creatine to make it work again? For healthy people using normal doses, cycling isn't required. Your body doesn't become immune to creatine. If you want to take a break for personal reasons, go ahead. But there's nothing magical about being on and off. Think of it like protein or vitamin D. You don't cycle your chicken breast or your sunshine. What about caffeine? Some people say coffee cancels creatine. The evidence is mixed and not very strong. For most people, there's no issue taking both. If you think the combination makes your stomach feel weird, or your sleep worse, Separate them by a few hours and see how you feel. Fitness is personal. Your best plan is the one you can follow comfortably. Timing is another area where people overthink things. Should you take creatine before your workout? After? With your pre-workout? The biggest factor is simply getting it in every day. Some people like to take it with a post-workout meal because it's easy to remember, and food may help absorption a bit. Others add it to a morning drink. If taking it at the same time as your pre-workout gives you jitters, move it to another part of the day. You have flexibility here. Let's quickly clear up the best type debate. You'll see fancy new forms on the shelf promising superior absorption. The classic creatine monohydrate is still the king. It's the most studied, it works, and it's affordable. If you get stomach upset with one brand, try another or split your dose into 2 smaller servings. Dissolving it in warm water can also help. If you want extra peace of mind about purity, look for third-party tested options or labels like Creapure. You don't need an exotic version to get solid results. Another useful tip: you don't need sugar or a big glass of juice to activate creatine. Taking it with a meal that includes carbs and protein may give a small boost in uptake for some people, but it's not required. Water works just fine. If you like smoothies, drop it in. If you're a coffee person and it sits fine with you, you can add it there. Make it easy and it becomes automatic. Creatine is not only for bodybuilders chasing stage lights. It has a place in many types of training where short, high-intensity efforts matter. Sprints, team sports, HIIT, heavy lifts. There's also early evidence that certain groups, like people who don't eat much meat or those going through periods of poor sleep, might notice cognitive benefits. That doesn't mean creatine turns you into a genius, but it suggests the compound plays helpful roles beyond the squat rack. The more your routine includes repeated bursts of effort, the more likely you'll feel the difference. So what's a practical plan that almost anyone can follow? Take 3 to 5 grams of creatine monohydrate once per day. Choose a time you'll remember: after lunch, with a protein shake, or before you brush your teeth at night. Drink water throughout the day. Train with intention. Sleep like it matters, because it does. If you prefer to load to feel something sooner, you can take about 20 grams per day split into 4 doses for 5 to 7 days, and then drop to a daily maintenance dose. But if that sounds like a hassle, skip it. You'll arrive at the same destination with patience. Quality matters, so read the label. You want creatine monohydrate with nothing shady mixed in. If a product lists a long paragraph of proprietary ingredients and bright marketing claims, consider a simpler option. This is one supplement where plain and boring is usually best. Store it in a dry place, stir it well, and if you have a sensitive stomach, try taking it with food or splitting the dose morning and evening. A quick word about expectations. Creatine isn't a movie montage. You won't wake up with 10 new pounds of muscle next week. What you will notice if you train consistently is a small edge. An extra rep here, a little more power there, slightly faster recovery between sets. Those small wins compound over months. That's the real magic. A tiny nudge that helps you show up better every session, which adds up to visible results in the mirror and measurable progress in your logbook. Let's circle back to the biggest myths and lay them to rest. Creatine is not a steroid. It doesn't secretly melt your kidneys in healthy people. It doesn't have solid, consistent evidence of causing hair loss. You don't have to load, you don't have to cycle, and you don't need a sugar rush to make it work. It won't make you fat, and the early weight you see is water pulled into muscle where it helps performance. Women can use it, beginners can use it, older adults can use it. Rest days still count, timing is flexible, and the simple monohydrate form is enough. If you're on medications, have a medical condition, or you're just unsure, talk to a professional who knows your history. That's not fear. That's being smart. Everyone else can keep it easy. A small daily scoop, real food, good sleep, and a program you enjoy. And please don't forget the basics that make the biggest difference: progressive training, protein intake, and managing stress. Supplements support a lifestyle. They don't replace it. Before we wrap, here's a quick checklist you can screenshot in your mind. 3 to 5 grams per day. Creatine monohydrate. Any time of day, you'll remember. Stay hydrated. Train hard and recover well. That's it. If you prefer to test things for yourself, run a 4 to 8 week experiment. Keep your workouts and diet consistent, and see how you perform and feel. Your own results will be the most convincing evidence you'll ever get. So, myths separated from facts. If this helped clear the noise, let me know which myth you used to believe. If you're already using creatine, share your routine in the comments so others can learn from your experience. And if you want a follow-up video on timing, mixing, or how to pair creatine with your training split, say the word. Take care of yourself, be patient with the process, and I'll see you in the next one.